The rescue that changed everything. The air was thick with dust and the scent of burning metal. Captain Alex Carter moved carefully through the dense jungle of an alien world, his breathing heavy inside his helmet. His ship had crash-landed on this unknown planet after a system failure. Now he was alone, stranded, and running out of time. His oxygen supply was limited, and his distress beacon was weak. If help didn't arrive soon, he wouldn't last long. Suddenly, a strange sound broke the silence. It was a mix between a growl and a desperate cry. Alex froze. He gripped his plasma rifle, scanning the trees around him. Something was nearby. He stepped forward cautiously, pushing through thick vines. That's when he saw it. A strange alien creature lay on the ground, injured and gasping for breath. Its body was covered in dark blue scales, and its eyes glowed with a dim yellow light. Deep wounds ran across its chest, and dark blood pooled around it. The creature looked intelligent, not just another wild animal. Alex's first instinct was to walk away. Helping an alien could be dangerous. He had no idea what it was or if it was friendly. But something about its eyes made him pause. They were filled with pain and fear. Then he heard another sound, one that sent a chill down his spine. A low, guttural growl echoed from the trees. Something was hunting this alien. Alex turned his head and saw dark figures moving in the shadows. Large, wolf-like creatures with razor-sharp teeth were circling the wounded alien. Their glowing red eyes locked onto their prey, and their bodies tensed, ready to strike. Alex had a choice: walk away and save himself, or risk everything for a creature he didn't even know. His grip tightened on his rifle. "Damn it," he muttered. Without thinking, Alex raised his weapon and fired a warning shot into the air. The blast echoed through the trees, startling the creatures. They snarled and backed away for a moment, their red eyes flickering with hesitation. The wounded alien looked up at Alex, its breathing shallow. It understood what he was doing. The predators weren't scared for long. One of them lunged forward, claws flashing in the dim light. Alex barely had time to react. He fired again, this time hitting the beast square in the chest. It let out a terrible screech and collapsed. The rest of the pack hesitated, growling in frustration. Alex knew they wouldn't back down for long. He had no time. Kneeling beside the alien, he reached out. "Come on, buddy. We gotta move." The creature hesitated. Then, with great effort, it reached up and gripped Alex's arm. Its claws were sharp, but it didn't hurt him. Alex pulled the alien up and threw its arm over his shoulder. It was heavier than he expected, but he didn't stop. He turned and started running, dragging the injured alien with him. The creatures behind them roared in anger and gave chase. Branches snapped as Alex pushed through the dense jungle, his boots sinking into the soft ground. His heart pounded. The alien staggered beside him, barely able to move. He could hear the predators gaining on them. Then, up ahead, he spotted a large metal structure hidden beneath vines and overgrowth. It looked like an old abandoned bunker. Without hesitation, he pushed toward it. The entrance was half buried in dirt, but the doors were still intact. "Come on," he grunted, pulling the alien inside. Just as they crossed the threshold, one of the beasts leaped toward them. Alex slammed the door shut just in time. A loud thud echoed through the bunker as the creature crashed against the metal. The door held firm. For a moment, everything was silent except for their heavy breathing. Alex turned to the alien. "You okay?" The creature looked at him, its glowing yellow eyes filled with exhaustion and something else. Then, to Alex's shock, it spoke. "You shouldn't have done that." Alex's breath caught in his throat. The alien's voice was deep, calm, and in perfect English. He stared at it in disbelief. "You can talk?" The alien nodded weakly. "You don't understand what you've just done." Alex frowned. "I saved your life." The alien exhaled slowly. "Yes. And now, your life is in danger." A cold shiver ran down Alex's spine. Whatever this creature was, it wasn't just any alien. And whatever he had gotten himself into, it was only the beginning. A debt beyond the stars. The dim light of the bunker flickered, casting long shadows across the cold metal walls. The air smelled of rust and decay. This place had been abandoned for years. Captain Alex Carter leaned against the heavy door, his heart still pounding from the chase. The strange alien creature lay slumped against the wall, its breathing shallow. Its dark blue scales shimmered faintly, and its yellow eyes flickered weakly as it studied Alex. Alex wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Okay," he said, trying to catch his breath. "Start talking." The alien exhaled, its voice deep and steady. "You shouldn't have saved me." Alex narrowed his eyes. "You're welcome." The alien's gaze didn't waver. "You don't understand. By saving me, you have drawn the attention of something far worse than those creatures outside." Alex folded his arms. "You mean the wolves." He let out a short laugh. "I've seen worse." The alien shook its head. "No, not them. The hunters. They will come for me. And now, they will come for you too." A distant hum echoed through the bunker. It was faint, but Alex's trained ears picked it up immediately. It wasn't the sound of wind or distant wildlife. It was mechanical, artificial. He turned sharply toward the alien. "What kind of hunters?" The alien hesitated, then struggled to sit up, wincing in pain. It clutched its injured side, dark blood still oozing from the wound. "I am called Varric," it finally said. "And I am not just a fugitive. I am the last of my kind." Alex frowned. "Last of your kind? What happened to the rest?" Varric's yellow eyes darkened. They were erased. Something in the way he said it made Alex's stomach tighten. Varric continued. "The Dominion Empire controls this region of space. They are ruthless, efficient. They see all things as either assets or threats. My species was a threat." Alex took a slow breath. He had heard of the Dominion before, a vast alien empire that dominated entire star systems, but he never imagined they could erase an entire species. "You're saying they wiped out your whole race?" Alex asked, his voice low. Varric nodded. "I am the last survivor. And they will not stop until they find me." Alex glanced at the sealed bunker door. Outside, the alien predators still prowled, but now there was something worse coming. He could feel it. "Great," he muttered. "So what does this have to do with me?" Varric gave him a long, measuring look. "Because when you saved me, you triggered something ancient, something buried deep within my bloodline. Now, you are tied to it." Alex scowled. "What does that even mean?" Varric struggled to his feet, leaning against the wall for support. He placed a clawed hand on Alex's chest. The moment he did, a jolt of energy shot through Alex's body. His vision blurred. His skin burned. A strange whispering sound filled his ears, like voices speaking in a language he didn't understand. Then suddenly, it was gone. Alex stumbled back, gasping. What the hell was that? Varric let out a tired breath. The bond. Alex's fists clenched. The bond. What bond? "The Dominion feared my kind for a reason," Varric said, his voice quieter now. "We possess a power they could never control, a force older than their empire. And by saving me, you have unknowingly connected yourself to it." Alex's head spun. He had survived plenty of dangerous missions before. Rogue pirates, corrupt governments, alien warlords. But this was something different. He didn't know how, but he could feel something inside him had changed. Before he could say anything, a sharp beep sounded from his wrist communicator. A new signal, not human, not friendly. Alex's blood ran cold. "We need to move," Varric said, his voice urgent. "They're here." Alex swallowed hard. He didn't even know who they were yet, but he had a feeling he was about to find out. The power he never knew he had. A distant rumble shook the ground beneath them. Dust rained down from the bunker's ceiling. The walls vibrated with the force of something powerful approaching. Captain Alex Carter clenched his fists, his heartbeat steady but tense. They had been found. Varric, the wounded alien Alex had just saved, stood weakly beside him. His yellow eyes glowed faintly, flickering like a dying ember. The bunker's dim emergency lights cast long shadows across his scaled blue skin, making him look even more otherworldly. Alex activated his wrist communicator, cycling through frequencies. A faint electromagnetic pulse was spreading outward. Something was scanning the area. "How bad is it?" Alex asked, already knowing the answer. Varric closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. "They've sent a retrieval squad. 2 hunters. Maybe 3. Alex frowned. "That's it. Just 2 or 3. Varric's gaze sharpened. "One of them is enough to wipe out an entire colony." Alex inhaled sharply. He had faced mercenaries, bounty hunters, and even Dominion soldiers before. But if what Varric was saying was true, these weren't ordinary pursuers. The distant rumble grew louder. The ground trembled again, and a low-pitched hum filled the air. Alex recognized it immediately. "Hovercrafts. They're scanning the area," Alex muttered. "They don't know exactly where we are yet." Varric leaned against the wall, his breathing uneven. His wounds had stopped bleeding, but he was far from recovered. "You should leave. You still have time." Alex scoffed. "And leave you behind? Not happening." Varric studied him for a long moment, then exhaled. "Then you must be prepared." Alex frowned. "Prepared for what?" Varric slowly extended his clawed hand and placed it over Alex's chest again. The moment their skin touched, a pulse of raw energy surged through Alex's body. His vision blurred, his skin burned, and his muscles tightened as if some unseen force was pulling at his very core. His mind exploded with images, memories that weren't his. He saw planets burning, entire civilizations wiped from existence, and an ancient forgotten force fighting against an empire that sought to erase it. Then he saw himself, but not as he was now. He saw a version of himself faster, stronger, more powerful than any human should ever be. The images vanished as quickly as they came. Alex staggered backward, gasping. "What the hell was that?" he demanded. His fingers tingled, his vision still slightly unfocused. He felt different. Varric let out a slow breath. "You are bonded now. The process is beginning." Alex's jaw tightened. "Bonded? What process?" Varric's yellow eyes darkened. "You are changing, Alex Carter. And soon, you will no longer be just human." A loud clang echoed through the bunker. Something had landed outside. Alex immediately snapped into action, gripping his rifle. He activated his visor, scanning through the thick metal walls. Outside, 2 tall figures emerged from a sleek, black hovercraft. Their armor gleamed under the pale light of the planet's twin moons. They were humanoid, but their movements were too precise, too unnatural. They weren't just soldiers. They were hunters, the lead assassins of the Dominion Empire. One of them lifted a cylindrical device and pressed a button. A low-pitched hum vibrated through the air. The bunker's reinforced door melted away like ice under fire. Alex didn't hesitate. He grabbed Varric's arm, helping him up. "Can you run?" Varric winced but nodded. "Not fast." Alex gritted his teeth. "Not good." The first hunter stepped inside. Its armor was smooth and featureless, its helmet reflecting the dim light like black glass. No weapons were visible, but Alex wasn't fooled. Their bodies were their weapons. The second hunter followed, scanning the bunker with cold precision. Their eyes locked onto Alex and Varric. A deep, emotionless voice filled the air. "Target acquired." Alex raised his rifle and fired. The shot never landed. The first hunter raised its hand, and the plasma blast froze in midair, crackling like a glitch in reality. Then, with a flick of its wrist, the energy bolt reversed direction, right back at Alex. He barely dodged, the bolt scorching the bunker's wall behind him. "Okay," Alex muttered. "That's new." Varric pulled at his arm. "You're not ready to fight them. We need to go." Alex clenched his jaw. He hated running, but he knew Varric was right. The second hunter lunged, moving impossibly fast. Alex reacted on instinct. His body moved before his mind could think. He ducked, twisted, and in one smooth motion, he grabbed a broken steel pipe from the ground and struck the hunter across the head. The impact sent shockwaves up his arm, but to his shock, the hunter stumbled back. It felt the hit. That shouldn't have been possible. These things were nearly unstoppable. Varric's eyes widened. "Your abilities, they're activating." Alex barely had time to process that before the first hunter raised a pulsing, blue-glowing blade. Varric grabbed Alex's arm. "Move." They sprinted toward the back exit. Alex could feel something awakening inside him, a strange energy coursing through his veins, making him faster, sharper. They reached the back of the bunker. A rusted emergency hatch blocked their path. Alex didn't think, he just acted. He grabbed the hatch handle and ripped it open with inhuman strength. Varric's expression was unreadable. "You don't even know what you're becoming." Alex stared at his own hands, breathing heavily. He didn't know either, but he had a feeling this was just the beginning. Betrayal in the stars. The cold night air hit Alex's face as he and Varric emerged from the bunker's emergency hatch, stumbling into the dense alien jungle. The twin moons cast long silver shadows, making the thick vines and towering trees look even more menacing. Captain Alex Carter wasn't sure if the forest was more dangerous than the hunters chasing them. But right now, it didn't matter. Behind them, a mechanical voice echoed through the bunker's ruins. "Target in motion. Pursuit initiated." A loud boom followed. A pulse grenade. The explosion rocked the ground, sending dirt and metal debris flying. Alex didn't look back. He grabbed Varric's arm and kept running. His heart pounded. His legs didn't feel normal anymore. He was faster, stronger, his muscles barely tiring even after sprinting at full speed. Something inside him had changed. They leaped over a fallen log, landing in the thick underbrush. Varric stumbled, clutching his wounded side. "We can't outrun them forever," Varric panted. Alex scanned the area, his mind racing. The jungle was vast, but these hunters were not ordinary soldiers. They would find them eventually. He activated his wrist communicator, searching for any possible escape routes. His ship was still wrecked miles away, not an option. But then something flickered on his screen. A distress beacon. Not his, someone else's. It was human. Alex froze. His stomach twisted. That shouldn't be possible. "Alex?" Varric's voice pulled him back. Alex clenched his jaw. "There's a human distress signal about 3 clicks east of here." Varric's yellow eyes sharpened. "That's impossible. There are no human colonies in this sector." Alex didn't respond. Instead, he grabbed Varric and changed direction. They ran toward the signal, the beacon's warning. After what felt like an eternity, they reached a small clearing. In the center stood a metallic distress beacon, flickering weakly. A broken human insignia was stamped on its side. Alex moved cautiously, scanning the area. "No wreckage," he muttered. "No bodies, just the beacon." Varric frowned. It could be a trap. Alex nodded. "I know." Then, a soft beep sounded from the beacon. A message began playing. A distorted voice, crackling through the static. "This is Commander Elias Vaughn of the UHF Perseus. Any surviving personnel, respond immediately. We have." The transmission cut out. Alex's blood ran cold. He knew that name. Elias Vaughn, a high-ranking officer in the United Human Fleet. But his ship, the Perseus, had been missing for over a year. Alex turned to Varric. This isn't just a random distress beacon. This means, before he could finish, a low hum filled the air. A stealth ship uncloaked above them, its sleek black form hovering just above the trees. Alex's stomach twisted. He reached for his rifle. But then, a familiar human voice spoke through a speaker. "Stand down, Carter." Alex froze. The ship's ramp lowered, and from the shadows, a man stepped out. Commander Elias Vaughn. Alive. A dangerous offer. Vaughn's uniform was battered, but his posture was as strong as ever. His piercing blue eyes locked onto Alex. "It's been a long time," Vaughn said, stepping forward. Alex didn't lower his weapon. "This ship went missing over a year ago. How the hell are you here?" Vaughn smirked. "A long story. But first, we need to talk." Alex's instincts screamed danger. This was too convenient. Varric tensed beside him. "Alex, something is wrong." Vaughn's eyes flicked to Varric. "You really should be careful about who you trust." Alex's grip on his rifle tightened. "Funny. I was just about to say the same to you." Vaughn sighed. "Still paranoid. I see. Look, I don't have time for games. I know about the hunters chasing you. I know about the bond." Alex's chest tightened. "How?" Vaughn's smirk deepened. "Because we've been tracking Varric for a long time." Alex's pulse pounded in his ears. This was a trap. Before he could react, Vaughn raised his hand. Soldiers emerged from the ship, their weapons aimed at Alex and Varric. "I'll make this simple, Carter," Vaughn said. "Hand over the alien, and you can walk away." Alex's breath slowed. His muscles tensed. Betray Varric and return to safety. Or fight, and risk everything. Varric looked at him, his eyes filled with understanding. "Do what you must, Alex." Alex took a slow, steady breath. Then, without warning, he made his choice. He raised his rifle and fired the first shot. The trial of humanity. The moment Alex pulled the trigger, chaos erupted. His plasma shot streaked through the air, aimed straight at Commander Elias Vaughn, a man he once considered a war hero. But Vaughn was fast. He dodged, the energy bolt grazing his shoulder, burning the fabric of his uniform, but leaving him standing. "Damn it, Carter," Vaughn snarled. "You don't understand what you're doing." Alex didn't wait to listen. He spun around, grabbing Varric's arm, and ran. Soldiers opened fire. Blue plasma bolts sizzled through the air, scorching the jungle leaves. Alex dove behind cover, dragging Varric down just in time as a blast tore through the ground where they had stood. Varric coughed, his injury slowing him. "Alex, there are too many. We won't escape like this." Alex clenched his jaw. He knew. They were surrounded. Captured. Vaughn's soldiers advanced. A mechanical drone hovered above them, its red scanning lights locking onto Alex's position. A second later, an electromagnetic pulse exploded outward. Alex's body seized up. His muscles froze, his nerves on fire. They had hit him with a stun field. He collapsed, barely able to move. Varric tried to resist, but he was already weak from his injuries. Within seconds, Vaughn's men had them both pinned to the ground. Vaughn walked forward, shaking his head. "You really don't know when to quit, do you?" Alex growled, trying to force his muscles to work. "If I had a credit for every time someone told me that." Vaughn smirked. "Then you'd be rich. And maybe smart enough not to get yourself captured." The last thing Alex saw before everything faded to black was Vaughn motioning to his soldiers. "Take them aboard." The tribunal of the Dominion. Alex woke to the sound of mechanical hums and distant voices. His wrists were bound to a metallic platform, thick cuffs holding him in place. Varric was beside him, also restrained. The room around them was massive, an alien tribunal chamber. The walls gleamed with a metallic sheen, and above them, rows of shadowed figures sat in a circular formation. The Dominion's ruling council. Alex's stomach tightened. This wasn't just a military prison. They had been brought before the Empire itself. Varric exhaled slowly. This is worse than I feared. Alex glanced at him. Yeah, I figured. Any chance of talking our way out? Varric didn't respond. His silence was answer enough. A voice boomed through the chamber. Captain Alex Carter, you stand accused of interfering with Dominion law, harboring a fugitive, and disrupting the balance of the galaxy. How do you plead? Alex scoffed. Disrupting the balance of the galaxy? Seriously, I saved a dying man from getting eaten. Since when is that a crime? A ripple of murmurs spread through the council. They didn't expect defiance. Vaughn stepped forward, standing near the tribunal center. His face was impassive, but his eyes betrayed something deeper, doubt. One of the council members, a tall, silver-skinned alien with piercing violet eyes, leaned forward. Varric is not just a simple refugee. He carries knowledge of a power that could destroy entire civilizations. Varric's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. The alien continued, and now so do you, Captain Carter. Alex stiffened. That's what this was about. It wasn't about rescuing Varric. It was about the bond. Whatever had happened when Alex saved Varric, it had changed him, given him something the Dominion feared. Alex swallowed. I don't even know what this power is. How can I be guilty of something I don't understand? The council member's eyes glowed faintly. You will. Soon enough. Vaughn finally spoke. There's still a way out of this, Carter. Alex turned his head sharply. Oh yeah. Let me guess. Betray Varric, and you let me walk free. Vaughn's silence was his answer. Alex let out a bitter laugh. Unbelievable. You really sold your soul to these bastards. Vaughn's jaw tightened. I made a deal to protect humanity. By handing over someone to be executed. Alex's voice dripped with disgust. Vaughn exhaled. Varric's survival puts us all at risk. Alex's body tensed. He could feel something building inside him, an energy humming beneath his skin. The bond. It was waking up. One of the council members raised a hand. Enough. We will not waste time with human arguments. Then, with a wave of their hand, Alex felt a force slam into him. It wasn't physical. It was inside his mind. Images flooded his brain. Worlds burning. Time unraveling. A force older than the Dominion itself, buried, waiting. And at the center of it all, him. Alex gasped, his head pounding. The moment passed, and he found himself glaring at the tribunal. Whatever power they were afraid of, he could feel it inside him now. And he knew one thing. They weren't going to let him live. The impossible escape. The council member finally spoke. Captain Carter, you are too dangerous to be left alive. Your fate is sealed. The guards moved forward, weapons raised. Varric tensed. Alex, now would be a good time to. Boom. The entire tribunal shook as an explosion tore through the ceiling. Alarms blared. The lights flickered. Smoke filled the chamber. Then, a voice crackled through Alex's communicator. Carter, if you're still breathing, get ready to move. Alex's eyes widened. He knew that voice. His old crew. They had come for him. The guards hesitated, momentarily distracted. Alex's instincts kicked in. He clenched his fists and felt the energy inside him surge. The cuffs around his wrists shattered. The guards turned in shock. Too late. Alex was already moving, faster than he ever had before. He ripped Varric's restraints off. Come on. Varric hesitated, staring at him. You shouldn't be able to do that. Alex grabbed his arm and hauled him forward. Yeah, well, today's been full of surprises. They raced through the chaos, plasma shots streaking past them. Soldiers fought to regain control, but Alex's crew had already breached the compound. He could see their ship hovering outside, its engines roaring. Freedom was right in front of them. But something told Alex, This was far from over. The Battle of the Forgotten. The Dominion Tribunal chamber was in chaos. Smoke filled the air, alarms blared, and the once calm, authoritative voices of the ruling council were now drowned out by gunfire and explosions. Captain Alex Carter sprinted through the ruined hall, his body moving faster than it should. His senses were sharper, his muscles stronger. The bond was awakening. Behind him, Varric struggled to keep up, still weak from his injuries. But there was no time to slow down. Dominion guards were closing in from every direction. "Move," Alex shouted, grabbing Varric's arm and pulling him forward. Ahead of them, the tunnel leading to the docking bay was blocked by a group of Dominion elites, genetically enhanced soldiers, faster and stronger than normal troops. Their sleek black armor shimmered as they activated energy blades, their glowing edges humming in the dark. Varric exhaled heavily. "I assume you have a plan." Alex's pulse pounded. "Yeah, don't die." The first elite lunged, its blade slicing toward Alex's throat. Alex didn't think, he reacted. He sidestepped faster than the soldier expected, twisting his body in a way that felt almost unnatural. His reflexes had improved. His mind was processing faster than ever before. With a single motion, he grabbed the soldier's wrist and snapped it. The energy blade clattered to the ground. Varric's eyes widened in shock. That shouldn't be possible. But there was no time for questions. More soldiers rushed in, their weapons raised. Alex picked up the fallen energy blade, its glowing blue edge vibrating with lethal power. Then he charged. He wasn't just fighting anymore. He was moving like something more. His feet barely touched the ground as he weaved through the elites, dodging plasma blasts and countering every attack with impossible speed. His blade cut through armor like paper. The more he fought, the stronger he felt. Varric struggled against two Dominion soldiers, managing to take one down before the second grabbed him from behind. Alex moved on instinct. One leap, one swing. And the soldier holding Varric fell, his armor split open by Alex's strike. Varric pulled away, panting. "You are changing, Alex Carter." Alex didn't respond. He could feel it. Something inside him was growing stronger. It wasn't just skill. It was something beyond human. And it scared him. But there was no time for fear. A loud mechanical roar shook the walls. Alex turned just in time to see a massive figure step into the hallway. A Dominion warbringer. 7 feet tall. A walking tank. Its glowing red visor locked onto them. Alex barely had time to react before the warbringer raised its arm and fired. The warbringer's wrath. The explosion ripped through the hallway, sending Alex and Varric flying backward. Alex crashed into the metal wall, pain shooting through his ribs. Varric groaned beside him, struggling to get up. Alex gritted his teeth. His enhanced reflexes had saved him, but against something this massive, speed alone wouldn't be enough. The warbringer stepped forward, its metallic footsteps shaking the ground. It raised its arm again, the barrel of its plasma cannon glowing white-hot. Alex's instincts screamed. He lunged forward just as the cannon fired. And instead of dodging, he reached out. His hand caught the blast. The moment the plasma touched his palm, something snapped inside him. A shockwave of energy exploded outward. The plasma bolt dissolved in midair. The warbringer hesitated. Alex stared at his own hand, his chest rising and falling. He had just absorbed a plasma shot. Varric was watching, his face unreadable. That is, not possible. Alex didn't have time to process it. The warbringer roared and charged forward, its titanic fists crashing down. This time, Alex didn't run. He met the charge head-on. The impact should have crushed him. Instead, he caught the warbringer's fist. For a moment, everything was still. Then Alex threw the warbringer back. The 7-foot metal giant slammed into the wall, its armor dented from the impact. Alex exhaled, his hands trembling. He wasn't just enhanced. He was something else entirely. The Warbringer rose, its movements slower now. But before it could attack again, a sudden blast rocked the entire building. Alex turned toward the source, the docking bay. The ship was waiting. His crew was fighting off Dominion forces. Their escape was right there. But something inside him told him this fight wasn't over. The decision that could end the Empire. They rushed toward the ship, dodging blaster fire and explosions. Vaughn's voice crackled through Alex's earpiece. "Carter, get on the damn ship. We're out of time." Alex reached the loading ramp, his feet hitting the cold metal. Varric was right behind him, panting. But as the ship began to rise, a massive holographic projection appeared in the sky. The Dominion High Chancellor. Her cold, silver eyes stared down at them. "Captain Carter," her voice boomed, "you have proven yourself beyond expectations. But you are no longer human. You are now a threat. And we do not allow threats to live." Alex gritted his teeth. "Yeah, then come and get me." The Chancellor's lips curled into a smile. "We already have." Alex's stomach dropped. A fleet of Dominion warships appeared above the planet. Massive, heavily armed, a force capable of erasing an entire species. Varric gripped Alex's arm. "They are going to wipe out this entire sector to make sure you do not escape." Alex's mind raced. He had two choices: escape with his crew and live to fight another day. Stay, use his new power, and make a stand. His hands clenched. His body still hummed with the energy inside him. He had saved one alien. But what if he could save an entire galaxy? Alex turned to Vaughn. "Get the crew to safety." Vaughn frowned. "What?" "Carter, we don't have time for this." Alex stepped off the ramp. "I'm not running anymore." Varric's eyes widened. "You're going to fight an entire empire, alone." Alex's pulse slowed. "No," he said, his voice calm. "I'm going to end them." As the ship pulled away, Alex turned to face the Dominion fleet, and with a deep breath, he unleashed the power inside him. The beginning of the end. The sky trembled. The Dominion warships shifted, their weapons charging. But something changed. The air hummed with energy. The ground cracked beneath Alex's feet. He raised his hands, and for the first time, he truly felt it. The bond. The power of an ancient force the Dominion had tried to erase. And it was his now. The Dominion fleet fired. Alex raised his hand. And reality itself shattered. The choice that shaped the stars. The sky burned. Dominion warships hovered above the planet like a fleet of mechanical gods, their massive cannons charging with enough energy to erase everything below. The entire sector trembled under the weight of their power. The High Chancellor's voice echoed through the comms, cold and merciless. "Humanity was never meant to exist. You are an anomaly, and anomalies must be erased." Captain Alex Carter stood alone on the surface. He had sent his crew away, refused to run, and now he faced the wrath of an empire alone. The jungle around him burned in blue fire as the Dominion prepared to unleash their final strike. But Alex wasn't afraid, because something inside him had awakened. The bond was no longer just a whisper in his mind. It was a force, a living energy woven into his very existence. He could feel it flowing through his veins, crackling in his fingertips. He took a slow breath and lifted his hands. And then he unleashed hell. The power that defied an empire. The first blast from the Dominion fleet screamed down toward the planet. A concentrated beam of raw annihilation. It was meant to turn the land beneath him into nothingness. But Alex caught it. His hand surged with power, absorbing the energy like a black hole devouring a star. The force should have disintegrated him, but instead, it became his. The Dominion commanders hesitated. No one had ever survived a direct planetary strike. Alex lifted his gaze, his eyes now glowing with an unnatural light. He clenched his fists and fired the energy back. A blinding streak of raw force tore through the sky, cutting through the clouds and ripping straight into the Dominion flagship. The entire warship shuddered, alarms blaring. The High Chancellor's face flickered back onto the holographic display. For the first time, she looked uncertain. "What are you?" Alex exhaled, feeling the weight of the universe press down on him. He could end it all right here. With the power coursing through him, he could wipe out the entire Dominion fleet. He could strike back against everything they had done. The genocide of Varric's people, the oppression of hundreds of species, the arrogant grip they had on the galaxy. They deserved to burn. His fingers twitched with raw power. But then, he hesitated. Was this what he wanted? The choice that changed everything. A voice cut through his rage. Varric's voice. "Alex, do not become them." Alex's breath hitched. He turned to see Varric watching him from a nearby ridge. Even injured, even after being hunted, Varric did not ask for revenge. He asked for something else. Something harder. Mercy. Alex closed his eyes. The Dominion wanted him to be a mistake, a problem to erase. But that wasn't what humanity was. That wasn't what he was. Slowly, Alex lowered his hands, and instead of destroying the fleet, he rewrote their reality. The end of the Dominion. Alex reached out with the bond, his mind touching the ancient power buried deep within the fabric of the universe. The Dominion had spent centuries enslaving, conquering, erasing species from history. But now, they were the ones erased. Not by death, but by something far worse. Alex rewired their entire existence. He shattered their warship's weapons, turning them into useless husks. Their AI systems glitched, no longer recognizing who they served. Their empire, their control over the galaxy, their vast networks of dominance, all disconnected in an instant. The High Chancellor gasped, her voice trembling. "What have you done?" Alex stared at her through the holographic display. "You call this a mistake. Let's see how you handle being forgotten." And then he let go. The Dominion Empire crumbled in a single breath. Their history remained, but their power was gone. Forever. A new beginning. The sky was clear. The Dominion warships, once the most feared vessels in the galaxy, now drifted silently. The High Chancellor's voice had gone silent. And Alex Carter, he was still standing. Varric approached slowly, staring at him like he wasn't sure if he was looking at a human anymore. "You could have killed them all," Varric said quietly. "Why didn't you?" Alex turned, the glow in his eyes fading. His body felt heavy, exhausted. But he managed a small, tired smile. "Because we're better than that." Varric was silent for a long time. Then he let out a deep breath. "You just did the impossible." Alex chuckled, rubbing his neck. "Yeah, I tend to do that." A familiar hum of engines filled the air. Alex looked up as his cruise ship descended, landing nearby. Vaughn stepped down the ramp, his expression unreadable. "You could have wiped them all out," Vaughn said. "Yeah," Alex admitted, "but that wouldn't have changed anything." Vaughn exhaled. "So what now?" Alex looked up at the sky. The galaxy had changed forever. The Dominion's grip was gone. For the first time in history, the universe was free. He smiled. Now we see what comes next." And with that, Captain Alex Carter walked toward the future. Epilogue. The legend begins. Years later, across the galaxy, people would tell the story. The story of the human who defied the Dominion. The man who faced an empire alone and chose mercy over vengeance. Some called him a hero. Some called him a god. But to those who knew him best, he was just a man. A man who risked everything to save one alien. And in return, saved the universe.